This is Critical Commentary with Maurice Williams. Today we'll be discussing the Israeli Hamas peace talks and the continuing government shutdown. Blacks, Hispanics, and whites can't read. Why you think I started a podcast? It's a fucking racist thing with you niggas, and that's why I'm coming at you niggas next. They love to talk about black violence. Have you heard of white violence? White people commit violent crime at 3 times the rate of Asians. When is Nick Fuentes going to talk about white violence? Everybody's arguing about their 2 genders. I sat next to a hermaphrodite in math class. Am I allowed to talk about the Jews? If she wanted, we could do it in the morning. Yawning, letting my eyes stretch, baby, I ain't a novice. I've been a dog, she FaceTime, but I never call. The war may be over. Over the weekend, Trump announced that Israel and Hamas had reached a peace agreement, or at least peace talks. He came out on X stating that if Hamas didn't agree to this peace agreement that America and Israel set forth, that all hell would break loose. And within a few hours after his statement, Hamas did agree to the 20-point peace plan that America set forth. For those who may not have been paying attention, this war, the Israel and Hamas war, started about 2 years ago. Today's the 6th, so tomorrow would be 2 complete years. It started October 7, 2023, when Hamas flew kites. Yes, they flew kites over the Israeli border and killed, I believe, 1,200 people, and they took hundreds of hostages, somewhere between 200 to 300 hostages. So in response to this brutal attack by Hamas, the government that's in charge of the Gaza Strip, which is between Israel and Egypt, in response, Israel sent their army, and they've pretty much devastated Gaza. They've killed at least 66,000 people. Some estimates say it may be as high as 600,000. We won't know the death toll until the devastation has been looked at by a third party. Besides the 60,000 who have died, also many have gone injured from the bombs and drones that Israel has launched. Somewhere at least hundreds of thousands of people have been injured. And then because Israel was bombing multiple locations in Gaza and did ask people to leave as their military expanded looking for Hamas, over 1 million people have been displaced. So this has been an ongoing war that's been taking place for 2 years, and people weren't even sure if any end was in sight, because from time to time, Hamas leaders have been killed, but there haven't been significant losses to the Hamas leadership. So people weren't sure how long Israel was going to continue to be dropping bombs. Now, there has been pressure from, like, in America, but also worldwide. You've had European countries like Ireland and some other Western European countries state that they didn't support what Israel was doing. America never said it because they're our greatest ally, but many people under 35 in America on social media have been showing support for Palestine and have been saying, based on the pictures we're seeing, there's so much devastation. Yes, Hamas was wrong, and people don't support Hamas, and we actually want Hamas to leave government. But the amount of civilians who were being killed had got to the point where people were saying it's more than just a war now. You're just killing practically everyone in sight. So the news of Hamas agreeing to the treaty was seen as big news really worldwide. The 20-point peace agreement came out from Trump. Of course, Israel said they agreed to the peace treaty as well. The 20-point peace treaty came out from Trump. Some of the particulars were Hamas was supposed to leave government. They're supposed to demilitarize. And they're supposed to let go of the hostages. They're saying, not obviously, but 250 hostages are no longer living. It's dwindled down to maybe 20 to 40. So most of the hostages have now died, unfortunately. Hamas said yes. Hamas agreed to the agreement, but the reason there's negotiations going on is that Hamas is not confirmed that they will leave government completely. So the U.S. wants them totally out of government. Hamas has agreed to step down, but but it seems that they're working on particulars about how they're going to run the country and what them stepping aside will be. Also, they never specifically agreed to demilitarize. So I'm sure that the U.S. and Israel is working on that sticking point as well. What Hamas did state if I'm able to find it, and if I'm not, I'll paraphrase it for you guys, was that what they did, what their press advisor did state, was that Trump's statements are encouraging and the movement is ready to begin negotiations immediately to achieve a prisoner exchange in the war and secure withdrawal from the occupation. So all the signs are leading to this war should be over. Both sides have agreed. They're working on particulars. Trump, after this agreement, asked Israel to stop bombing. He asked both sides to stop bombing. I'm mentioning Israel because Israel did not stop bombing over the weekend. Israel bombed the church. Israel also bombed the UN facility. So even after the agreement, they didn't drop as many bombs, but a few places that had civilians, and the reports are saying children, were bombed. So there have been more casualties from Israel even after the framework for the agreement was set in place. Based upon Israel's actions, I'm unsure what's going to happen because Hamas, the U.S., Trump's agreement and the U.S.'s plan leaves the door open for Hamas to have a Palestinian state. So Gaza is also considered Palestine by the people in Gaza, the Palestinians. The U.S. is open to recognizing the Palestinian state worldwide, like some of the other European leaders. But Netanyahu is strongly opposing this, I believe, because of the Greater Israel plan that Israel may be working on to extend the land that is already under the jurisdiction of Israel. So Netanyahu has stated that he does oppose a worldwide recognized Palestinian state. And because of this, and them also dropping bombs, I'm unsure if this peace agreement will last. But my hope is that it does last because there's been devastation on both sides and it's gone on long enough. In other news, day 6 of the government shutdown is upon us, and the White House is considering mass layoffs because the government won't have the money to fund, because for the U.S. government to have money, they have to agree on the budget, and they reached the deadline last week on Wednesday of the money that they had allocated for this year, this cycle of the U.S.'s bills. So Trump, based upon this shutdown, is stating that they may have government layoffs to government employees. It's somewhere around 700 to 750,000 employees, but then also the government contractors. So the Democrats are still trying to get the affordable health care subsidies extended for people who are low income and people who are using the Affordable Health Care Act, also known as the Obamacare. Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Senate and the Democrat, he stated that he's trying to talk to the Republicans to get this extension, but he's saying that the Republicans aren't willing to talk. The counter argument from the Republicans comes from John Thune, the leader of the Senate on the Republican side. He says that they are willing to talk and they are willing to give some extensions to some of the tax credits. So the Democrats are saying that the Republicans don't want to talk, but the Republicans are saying they're willing to talk, but they're not willing to talk to the extent that the Democrats want. And also, but Chuck is kind of telling the truth. With politics, there's a lot of nuance, a lot of particulars. The Republicans are saying they'll only talk once the government is open. So for the Republicans to talk, there needs to be not an answer to the extensions, but they have to have a resolution between the Democrats and the Republicans to extend the time that they're able to discuss the government shutdown and funding the government. So as you can see with politics, it's a lot of silly back and forth. I mean, both sides are willing to talk, but they're trying to decide the particulars and the procedures, and they're trying to meet certain rules instead of just going ahead and getting together and talking like we, the American people, want. Besides Trump stating that he wants the situation fixed, he believes that the Republicans are winning, as he always does, and he believes that they are winning because overall he feels that Obamacare was a failure and that most Americans would prefer that the healthcare system be overhauled and reformed. Many people do have a problem with the healthcare system. It needs overhaul. It needs reform. He is adding he is adding that people are calling for this reform. However, people would have liked for the government to, in their normal course of business, to have been discussing what improvements we can make to the system, as opposed to shutting the government down, which has, as I said, stopped 750,000 people from working, which has caused those 750,000 people to lose their paycheck currently. There is an act that was passed in 2019 stating that people who are furloughed will get all of their money back, but they won't receive that paycheck until the government shutdown ends. And as people know, you have bills every 2 weeks. So if they weren't prepared or their money was short, they may be going through a tough period waiting for the furlough to end. The larger situation with the healthcare in America and the Medicaid cuts which the Republicans have just had is there's some who believe too many people are getting benefits. Illegal aliens, they say, are getting benefits. Again, as I said last time, that's just for emergencies. They're not receiving the Affordable Health Care Act. And also, able-bodied men, the Republicans are saying, they haven't specifically said that welfare should just be for women, but they're kind of trying to push that there are some men who could work more than they are currently working. So the Republicans passed something stating that able-bodied men should work 20 hours a week if they want to receive health care and some of the other benefits like food stamps, etc., that the government offers. As you can see, in my perspective, both sides have valid points. It would be nice if, especially the Senate, the House is usually more grassroots, so the House can be a little bit more contentious. But it would be nice if the Senate, who is seen as like representing the entire state, it would be nice if the senators could move back to times more similar to the 90s and the 2000s, where they could work together and find 60-40 or 55-45, 60-40 votes on issues where the American people, though we disagree, we're kind of close on like what we want. It would be nice to see them work together more bipartisanship. Over the weekend, I came across a Nick Fuentes clip, and I thought that since I have covered him twice now, it would be good to potentially cover him again. I don't know if I will continue this, but people did comment on the Nick Fuentes clips, which made me think, okay, hey, maybe people like what I have to say about him. I'm learning about him. I was shocked last time to find out that it was like a lot of specific stuff about him that was accurate and that I agreed with. And then kind of I watched the clip, and it was just the Dear Black People clip, and it was just like the other clips I see. It's kind of like him rambling and going hard on black people. So when I heard that, I basically had the same response as I have had in private. It's kind of like, fuck you, since it's fuck us. But I'm going to check out this clip now, and, you know, I'm not sure how long it's going to play, but we'll see how much we get through.
All right, guys, let's get into the first clip of Nick.
As you know, this has been a highly anticipated collaboration. My fans have been... They really been giving Patrick Bet-David a hard time, asking him and turning.
So this is, I don't know, but it seems to, actually I do know, because if I read the title, I would have seen that it's talking about Patrick P. David. So I guess he's going to be recapping that interview that we watched. The producer tells me be prepared.
And people were coming up to him at the Charlie Kirk Memorial saying, when are you going to have Nick Fuentes on the show? And it was already in the works. And so they called me up last week and they said, can you get out here as soon as possible? I said, well, given the climate, I said, I'm taking care of some security things, but we got it together pretty quickly.
I agree with Nick. The Charlie Kirk murder was a problem, unfortunate situation, but also a Democratic senator and her husband were killed. Steve Scalise in Louisiana was shot. We need, as I stated before, we can have disagreements. We definitely need to talk to see how we can make America better. But on both sides, we need to call this out. Nick should not be fearing for his life. I don't want anybody to do Nick anything other than possibly send a lot of comments to his ex stating how retarded some of his stances are. Or, since I like some of his stances, go ahead and give him props when he's correct as well.
And so I flew out there. We did the show last night. Like I said, it came out this morning. And I have to say, I think it went great. I didn't really know what to expect. I've never talked to Patrick Bet-David before. I've never had a phone call, text message, never met him. But I thought it went great. I thought it was a fair, objective interview. And I saw some of my fans, they said, well, we've heard a lot of these stories. In fairness, he was going through my backstory because, well, we never met before. But I think that was actually a good thing.
Yeah, so I don't know what his fans were talking about, but for me, I didn't know his backstory. So it was good for me to learn. As he said last time, he started early. He said he was 12, and then he was in speech and debate, and he just grew up not learning, but kind of in that Republican mode. So I kind of seen he came up with the PragerU, and I just seen why he was right-leaning and what information was in his mind, what he had consumed. And what you consume, kind of dictates sometimes your stance on things. So it was good for me what he's saying.
Because he was introducing me to his audience. And I think a lot of the people in his audience, they don't know anything about me. And all they know, and I think maybe the same is true of him, is what they see in the clips, what they've heard, what they see in the clips. And you know how the clips are. They're funny, but they're also provocative. And it's
right. I mean, I don't find them funny. They're more provocative to me, but like I said, he seems to be nuanced. So like I came in this kind of not knowing about him and kind of thinking I dislike him, but shoot, he may not be we definitely disagree, but he may not be a bad person. Well, we disagree on some topics, some points.
Colorful language and it's hyperbolic. And if you only saw the 30-second clips, you might think I'm a lunatic. You might think I'm a total maniac. So I think it's important to do these kinds of interviews where you sit down with no preconceived idea and with a loaded gun pointed at the other person's head, metaphorically, ready to read them the riot act. You said this, you said that. Are you racist? Are you a Nazi? I think it's important to have these kinds of conversations where you sit down and you say, where did you come from? How did you develop your views? What are your views? What's your background? So I thought it was a really good preliminary interview. Again, for people that maybe don't know about me, don't know my views, maybe they never gave me a chance before. And even for him as a guy, like I said, we never had contact before. I thought he was very fair, very objective. We walked through the timeline. We just leveled with each other.
I just must say, he's an intelligent guy. So I say some things about him that are not so friendly, but this is not my third time, at least with you guys, seeing him talk and seeing him discuss things. He's smart. He has his shit together. It's in order. I mean, he makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, yeah, I can see why other people, I think his fans are not fans or supporters, are called the groypers. I could definitely see why, if you don't have a problem with what he's saying and you're just listening to him without the baggage that I brought, I could definitely see why you would pay attention to him, consider his viewpoints and things, because he seems knowledgeable. He seems to be rational and making sense, and he has the knowledge on the topics, at least some of the topics we're hearing. So I definitely see why the groypers are such supporters of him. I understand it better now.
And I was honest with him about kind of how I came to be the way I am, and not just my political station, but also my political views. And I think he was honest with me too. He had some constructive criticism. And as you know, the N-word cast a long shadow over this encounter. I like to use that word. He hates the word.
I think I told you guys I was going to finish the interview. I wasn't able to, but I will finish the interview. Yes, one of the inflammatory things that I did notice that he said he's a white guy saying nigger. Obviously, nigga. Well, he probably says nigger too, but he says nigga. It probably does offend a lot of people. That's not what offends me about Nick. Like, all white people, it's fine with me if you say nigga. Probably can't tell it to other black people. They'll fight you. You want to say it, maybe just put my name after it or something, because I'm fine with everybody calling me a nigga because I'm a nigga. And I discussed the etymology of the word nigga so people can understand why I'm comfortable with it. I understand the history of the word, and maybe if I present to people what the word really means and not necessarily what people think it means, maybe they'll understand why I'm comfortable with it. But I stopped it here just because I started thinking about Lily again, because she says nigga, and yeah, I think it's not fine for white people to say the N-word, but in the spirit of me wanting everybody to talk, like I want people to be able to discuss the Jews, I want us to work on our issues, I think there's going to have to be some give and take And obviously, it's tough for white people to feel like if they comment about blacks, even take nigga out of it. If you're white, you comment about blacks, you're always worried, are they going to think I mean this about all blacks, or are they going to find me racist? Whereas if you're black and you say something, people don't openly call you racist. I guess the reason is because obviously the history of America, blacks were slaves, they had Jim Crow. I do see how historically blacks were like inferior to whites, but we're getting to a point now, as I've discussed, where a lot of that may be gone. So like our generation, or maybe the one under me, really should at least consider, if you want to be friends with people, you not just be friends, but work with people, you want fairness on both sides, some of the things that we are not open to, we should consider. So if I think the Democrats and Republicans should talk to one another, I'm open to talking to Nick. Not saying right now everybody just say white people can say nigga, but just put the thought in your head to just consider, like, don't judge them on being white. See what they mean when they say nigga, and see what they think about niggas. Do they think they're a nigga type? You know, I'm going on a rant, or a sort of rant, but hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. Like, let's give people a chance, or at least start considering giving people a chance.
Doesn't like the word at all, doesn't think I should say it, and he gave me his feedback on that, and you know what? And I take the feedback. I take it in the spirit it was given, which is, you know, he's older than me. He's built an incredible operation. Guys, you should have seen it. It's unbelievable. They've got this massive complex. They got a gym. They got a computer room, studio. I mean, it's unbelievable. They have like an army of people.
Wasn't sure what he was about to talk about, but I caught a point earlier in that statement that he made. Patrick P. David is older. So I noticed some of that, not completely. My young black friends do have a problem with white people saying nigga, but I do notice that older blacks, whether it's either side of my family, but just in general in the public, they don't want me to say it, but I'm going to tell the truth. Older black people say nigga, right? So they said it around us, but by them being older and they grew up in segregation, they weren't around white people. So they'll get mad at us with the rap music and just in regular speech. Because sometimes I've had people in my family catch me. They're like, you just said nigga in front. What's some white people? Like when we get back to the car, I'm like, they niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever. Like our generation, y'all are at least white, black. Everybody's used to the black people saying nigga around everybody. But I can see what he's saying here. It's like, okay, Pete's older. How he looks at nigga might be different. Like how the older black people I'm around, though they're saying it, but they said it in private, it kind of throws them off. Even when a black person says it in front of white people, they're like uncomfortable.
It's one of the most impressive operations I've seen. And anyway, I don't know how I got on that, but point being is
I understand, bro. You talking to a camera, there's nobody there, and you just get the rambling. That's why we might sound crazy sometimes.
Respect his opinion. So, of course, I have my style. He has his style. We come from different generations, different countries. I'm from Chicago. I'm a little animated. I'm a little colorful, right? But he gave me his feedback, and I take.
You can be animated and colorful without being too disrespectful. Just not gonna say a slight criticism. Just a suggestion, right? Spirit of not friendship, but peace between me, Nick, and the Gripers. Just a suggestion. Maybe he could be colorful without being so disrespectful.
Take it in the spirit it was given, which is, I think. He cares about America. I think he cares about the state of the discourse, which is obviously the subject of the discourse now with Charlie Kirk's assassination. And as an older guy, I respect it. He's an elder. So I appreciate it actually in a sense. So I thought it was great. I like him. This guy, he's a big guy. I've never seen him before in person, but he's like a gangster. He's like a big guy. But I like his energy. And I have to say that in the right-wing space, you come into contact with a lot of different kinds of people. I really like the people on our side. I don't always agree with them on everything, and I'm extremely political. I'm extremely religious and right-wing. But what I mean by that is in the right wing, we are overlapping with the UFC world, with guys like Jake Shields, the poker world.
Okay, there's a few things to unpack here. So when he says the right, that's talking about Republicans. And the reason Republicans are sometimes seen as racist is because what he's saying, and I'm not calling, well, I do think he's racist, but with his his type of narrative and his, not just political beats, but some of his cultural takes, the people with those beliefs tend to be on the right, and that's the Republicans. So just to let people know why people call Republicans racist, right? There's like he said, a wide variety of people, but you don't hear many white people on the Democrat or the liberal side being the ones talking negatively about blacks. You hear it coming from the right, which is Republicans. So that's kind of how the Republicans get the sort of stereotype of being racist. He also mentioned Jake, who I've spoken to a few times on X. I don't think he's racist, but like they say, he's anti-Semitic, but he would fit along the conservative and right side. But I do see, just from paying attention on X, watching TV, I definitely see the Democrats are just as wide of a group as the right. So I could see why Republicans as a whole would feel like when people call them racist, it's like, it would be like how I've noticed one time in a comment, somebody called me a liberal or a leftist. It's like, just because you have predominantly voted for Democrats does not mean that you agree with the far end of your party. So I could also see how like a Republican would say, if I say they're racist, not me, I wouldn't call it Republican, but people call Republican racist, like, blacks vote, I think 90% Democrat. Well, that's not necessarily because of the policies. I might have touched on that before. I'll definitely touch on it in the future. Policies, blacks are a little liberal, a little Democrat, but not necessarily far left. And the reason why they're voting strongly Democrat, even though they don't align with the policies, is because in their mind, based upon some things in history, which I'll go into another time, I actually do a segment on it. It's like they see the Republicans as racist. And as I'm saying, it's the party itself has a wide variety. So it's kind of, it's wrong to name the whole party based upon a fraction or a faction of people.
Guys like Dan Bilzerian, then there's some other gamblers, like some of the super chatters on this show. And you also have some of the business people, some of the grind set guys like a Patrick Bet-David. And I have to say, what they all have in common, a guy like a Jake Shields, a Dan Bilzerian, a Patrick Bet-David, is with each of these different domains, whether it's the fighting, poker, and everything that Dan does a lot of stuff, business, is I like that they're all straight shooters. They're all like...
Probably close out the reaction on this because I know my producer wants me to read comments, and actually something funny kind of happened on the ride here. Something that was happening in the ride made me think about him. But I like straight shooters. So again, not going to take it as far as saying I like Nick. I've just have too much baggage with him. But like, for example, Jake, who I had no baggage with, we got into an altercation once on X. So, words, we talked. He was straightforward. I was straightforward. It was just a respect thing. I don't agree with he's very anti-Jewish. I'm clear. I don't believe I am. I just criticize them when I see criticism, but he criticizes them a lot. So, and he says nigga. He's white. He says nigga. I don't trip. And he does have some views about blacks that I don't agree with. I'm talking about Jake. So even though I don't disagree with the views, I respect the honest conversation. He's always respectable with me, and he always states, when he meets black people or Jewish people or anybody individually, he's always like, I treat the individual away. But then with Jake, he's kind of like, well, he says Jews, and it kind of represents the Israel government. And then he also sends me stats talking about, he tweets them, but he also sends me stats showing how other Israelis believe in Zionism and things. So since I'm interested in that topic, I'll probably look into those things more. But like, he treats the individuals, all I say that to say that he treats individuals fairly, but sometimes he talks about the group negatively, and then with him, based upon stats he's seen, he thinks many of the Jews are in agreement with Israel. I'm not sure about that. And then the same thing with blacks. Like, he'll make comments about the black culture, and he'll point to, the inner city or something about music, and it's like, okay, I can see there are a lot of blacks in the inner cities. I can see it's a lot of black people doing what you have a problem with, but then you have to remind him, it's 45 million people. You can see 10,000 black people or 30,000 black people doing something. That's not even a blimp in our population. So just because a lot of people do something doesn't mean it's representative of a large portion. So I just kind of thought that was a good place to stop the reaction. So when I was on the ride here, I can drive, but I have a little anxiety, so I took an Uber to get where we are filming. When I was in the Uber, I was telling the Uber driver why I didn't drive. So she kind of bust out laughing and kind of thought it was funny. Some of my family thinks it's funny as well. But I noticed like how her car was, and then even when I got in her Uber, I put my bag in the back. So what I was thinking to myself was it was a black lady driving. So like, I walked up to the Uber, had my bag on me. She popped the trunk, right? Wasn't nobody. You see what I'm saying? That's something he might have thought might have would have happened. Then I get in the car, she's riding around, she's telling me stories about picking up her mom. See, her mom's not a dope fiend, on welfare, But yeah, we rode around, had a nice time, and it was just good talking to her and getting some perspective. I told her about the podcast. I don't think she's gonna watch it because she was listening to music and she didn't seem interested in politics, but she said she'd have a friend check it out. So I appreciate that. Hopefully, if your friend is watching, okay, this is gonna sound a little crazy, but if your friend is watching, because I don't know who knows. Yes, I'm confusing everybody, I know, but hopefully you enjoyed the show. And we've had a few comments over the weekend. I had not checked, but when I stepped in, my producer said a few people he said a nice bit of people commented. So I want to thank everybody for sharing their thoughts. We appreciate it. I know last episode I saw some ideas that I didn't follow up on. There's a few people. I told a lady I would talk about the Democrats and the liberal policies. I need to do that. And somebody else made a comment. I forget it offhand, but I said I'd look into it and I forgot, but I'm remembering now, so I will do segments on those things. I have so many thoughts, y'all, sometimes I lose it. We have, I have to read it correctly. Tell the truth. You need to learn how Israel and Zionists helped the racist apartheid of South Africa. I want to understand what she's saying. Israel and Zionists. I'm not going to go into what Zionists are because that's a deep dive, but Israel and Zionists helped the racist apartheid in South Africa. So you as a black man supporting Israel, why you think Nelson Mandela was... I don't think I support Israel. I'm worried about the page getting taken down for the criticism. But I will look into this apartheid South Africa because I'm not, familiar with it. Okay. Those are people talking to one another. So I'll go into another comment. Nick believes all blacks globally are low IQ. I don't know that now. I might have believed you before I seen him talking, but I would hope he should be intelligent enough not to think that now, I'm assuming. Before I would have believed you. Nick believes all blacks will be a low IQ and violent as a base norm. I believe he told this to Candace. I will have to check on the Candace Owens Nick Fuentes interview, right? I think I seen a clip. I'm familiar with both people a little bit. Obviously not a lot. I'll check it out and see what this guy is talking about. If he said all blacks are low IQ and violent as a base, and he said this. This is what I'm saying. I'm gonna have to check it out for myself. If he talking stupid, y'all know I'm gonna respond. This comment came from Ryan Laffey, and the other comment came out from Tells Us the Truth. I think I said that. Next comment, he says, call him out by name. This person pissing me off. Okay. Lamsy Lamb. Jesus, you're dumb. Nigga, your name is Lamsy Lamb. Your parents couldn't think of two other words? Let me calm down. The descendants of biblical Jews are Palestinians. Yeah, I agree with you. You're saying the descendants of the biblical Jews are Palestinians. I criticize Israel. Maybe you haven't seen the show, bro. So you shouldn't call me stupid because I'm gonna respond to that. Or at least try to say it in a nice way. Like I worked on my therapy last time. Let's all work on our therapy sessions. Last time I discussed how the Ashkenaz, there's like lots of Jews. It's so much stuff you got to deep dive. There's like 12 types of, not 12 types, but 12 types of ways they describe Jews. You got Sephardic Jews in the South Europe. Yeah, South Europe. You got Ethiopian Jews in East Africa. You got Mizra Jews in like the Middle East, right around the Levant, right around Jordan, Egypt, where Israel is. You have the Ashkenazi Jews, which is like the Jews I've been talking about who would like the ones everybody talk about got kicked out of 109 places. That's the Ashkenazi Jews. So it's like they was over here in Europe. It's so much to keep up with. Then it was up in Northern Europe, not in America. So yes, I understand that every Jew is not a descendant from the Middle East. Yes, I follow that. Let me see what else, how you finish that off. I haven't moved from it. The Jews of Israel are predominantly 8th century. So I don't know the centuries. I'm gonna look into that. 8th century concerns the Judaism, many of whom colonized Palestine. They're Jewish in that. I mean, we agree other than you calling me dumb, bro. And actually, I'm not familiar. Okay, I don't think I'm dumb, but yes, you have more specific and particular knowledge. I could not say the century like you did. So yes, I wouldn't say call me dumb, but yes, if you might have more information than me. So I see why maybe you think some of my takes are, I'm not gonna say shallow, but inaccurate because I don't know the full picture. We have another comment from Public Safety. Damn, no offense, dude. Shut the fuck up. Let me finish reading this before I spaz on this nigga. I'm trying to watch the video and I get it. Okay, you get it that it's a commentary, but all this black dude does is comment on pointless. Bro, I'm talking about the Israel Hamas war. Major news. The government, hundreds of thousands of people died, right? Or at least 60,000. I'm talking about the government shutdown. $400 million, people not getting paid per day, and you talking about it's pointless. What the fuck do you talk about every day? Please leave a comment and tell me what it is that is such big news that I'm not covering. Please, and I'll cover it. Okay, only cowards support Israel. For some reason, this may be good because I've really been talking to the producer. Like, I'm worried about the pictures we put up. I'm worried about things I say. I got banned, not banned. I had something flagged on YouTube X for saying the Jews. I guess the way I said it, they might have took offense. But I'm really been concerned that I'm going to get into some stuff with my free speech because I speak about Israel and that's like a taboo thing. So people are making it like I'm in support of the Jews. I don't know. Only cowards support Jews. That came from Chris Green. This is something different, so not about Jewish people. I don't know what it is gets everybody started about Jews, but a lot of these comments were about Jews. This is Yo Bronx. So Yo Bronx is the name. It's not about Jews. It's about the episode about New York. It makes sense. Yo Bronx. Mandani, you spelled it wrong or whatever. Mandani will sink New York. Possibly. I don't support communism or support the government trying to control prices. I think that's against capitalism, and I don't think that's going to work with America as a whole being a free market society. So I agree with that. This guy's a wolf in sheep clothes. Yeah, more government is not the answer. I agree. I'll check out a few more. I'm not sure where we are on time. I kind of look to the right to see what the producer is talking about. Exodus 111. Tell me you have no idea what I don't know. It's just back and forth, bro. Some people I'm getting, some people I'm not getting. This person just said, not this person, Exodus 111 said, tell me you have no idea what democratic socialism. Bro, I guess you want me to see democratic socialism is not just socialism, but socialism is in democratic socialism. There's a socialist element to democratic socialism, and I've studied governments, socialism, fascism, capitalism, democracies, etc., monarchies. Some things about socialism I'm not against. If I'm saying I understand Medicaid, I understand Medicare, but that is socialist, and Americans on both sides are okay with that. But then when you start talking about controlling prices at the government, that's taking it away from the business, is taking it away from supply and demand. You're going down a slippery slope, man. So I mean, yes, I probably am not in favor of democratic socialism because it's probably going too far. Have a few more comments and we shall see. Okay, Andriana Thoroughgood 1191. Thumbnail, he's a communist. Commentary, I won't call him a leftist. No, I think I've said just now and previously that it's an issue with Mamdani and what he's trying to do. Commentary later. I think he wants to intervene in the free market. I think the way he wants to intervene in the free... Yes, I'm consistent, but I guess you didn't... Okay, I didn't call him a leftist. I mean, it's an hour-long show, man. You're getting real particular, but I do think communism is an issue. I'm putting him on the left. I think it's wrong. Are you saying he's too left-wing? Not left-wing? Yes, I think he's too left-wing just on the economic side. I haven't even seen or looked... See it so much, y'all. I haven't really looked into all his policies. So just for the economic dealing with the groceries and it wasn't even one grocery store. We haven't even done this, and he's talking about implementing it into multiple stores. That's what I'm saying. Like, America is not set up for this, and it's kind of against what most Americans want. So yes, I mean, I think he is to answer your question, I'm saying he's too left-wing. You want me to answer a couple more? Or are we good? Well, yes? Okay, I'll answer a couple more. We have Zinger 3030. He is 100% right. This is coming from a person who tried to integrate. You refuse to accept the truth. I don't know what that's about. I can't respond. I'm at a loss for words. We have... Oh, I see what's going on. 100% right was going to another tweet, you guys. It's going to... Whatever this person said, a lot of people commented. He is cleverly trying to poke fun and incite chaos. Is cleverly trying to provoke and incite chaos. I hope they're not talking about me. I'm not trying to have any chaos. I want everybody to sit down and talk to one another. Best thing to do is ignore him so he can stay on the fringes. Oh, maybe they talking about Nick. Yeah, maybe he is trying to provoke and incite chaos. Maybe. I'm not sure. There will always be racist people. Yes, I'm thinking this is about Nick. Nothing will change this fact. He does not speak for the majority. I already knew that, right? So, well, I shouldn't say I knew, but we all can see in America, like, most white people just not racist, right? Most white people not walking around, even in private, like, I feel like my white friends, even if they say stuff I don't hear, I don't think their day is dedicated to, like, shitting on blacks type thing. So, like, I would hope that most blacks don't think that white people are getting in corners shitting on us throughout the day. Obviously, men talk about women, women talk about men, straights talk about gays. I don't know if LBG talks about straight, but I know we talk about them. So, I mean, some of that stuff is just friendly, not friendly since you're not telling the people, but it's just camaraderie amongst your group, you know, talking slightly about the other group, but never would I think it was like hardcore racism as I have framed it. I guess this would be the last one for today, or maybe one more. This one says Angie. He wants me to say names, but it can be tough. So it's Angie QO6 Up. 6 Up made me think about 6 War New Orleans. That's what the blacks was back in my grandpa day, around Armstrong Park and the Lafitte Project. Shout out to my boy Kane. When it comes to crime, we do suck. We harm one another so much. I don't care what others do, but we need to do better. I'm in agreement with you, bro. And hopefully crime has, from time to time, crime reduces. When I went home, actually, they had like 7 murders. So that was like off the charts. But before that, we were on pace to have less murders than we've had in like 5 years. So I'm not sure how much the 7 jumped us up, but that is crazy. Like you leave for a weekend, you come back. It was only like, I was going like 7 days and then 7 people were murdered. So that was a lot. And this would be the last one. It's from Leon Jaggers. The snarky one-liners don't really address the problem. Let's see. Sometimes I don't know who you're talking about. Snarky one-liners don't address the problem. Our community is at the bottom of every metric. I think he's talking to me. Our community sounds like a black person. You're not acknowledging this and instead throwing childish insults mixed with violent threats doesn't represent our community well. I'm going to finish this. I don't think I've threatened anyone because I'm trying to tell people not to threaten. I do remember I was like mad at Nick and I was talking about, it was a joke talking about putting my foot in his mouth. I was joking. I think I'm trying to address the problems, right? I don't know if you've seen all the episodes, but like I went over IQ a little bit. I can go over it more. I went over race, but I didn't get into all of like the development of the brain, it's like your twitch, but it's your, next time I'll be able to tell you how to work because I'll do a deep dive on it, but it's like your ability to like control yourself. I forgot exactly what it's called, but I'll go into how like race plays a role in that. Doesn't rep our community well, and certainly doesn't move the needle, making all black people aware of the problem. I mean, I'm trying my best to let people know the facts. If you continue to watch, hopefully you'll see that I'm presenting the facts to the best of my knowledge. And I'll do one more. See something I know, because this says something about support Gino. I don't even know who that is. I'll close on this one. Gil Margavaria 7421. You are too sensitive, lil bro. He's right. Sorry, but retire already. Bro, you see guys can't take retire. I'm just getting started, my nigga. This like the 5th episode. Sensitive. I just told all the white people they could call me nigga. I mean, some of this shit is just ridiculous. I mean, just being honest. Like, I'm sensitive. I'm telling white people they can say nigga, and then they can say it to me. So I don't think I'm sensitive. And then next time we'll just get to some of these other comments. But yeah, peace. See you guys tomorrow. Blacks, Hispanics, and whites can't read. Why do you think I started a podcast? It's a fucking racist thing with you niggas, and that's why I'm coming at you niggas next. They love to talk about black violence. Have you heard of white violence? White people commit violent crime at 3 times the rate of Asians. When is Nick Fuentes going to talk about white violence? Everybody's arguing about their 2 genders. I sat next to her hermaphrodite in math class. Am I allowed to talk about the Jews? If she wanted, we could do it in the morning. Yawning, letting my eyes stretch. Baby, I ain't a novice. I've been a dog. She FaceTime, but I never call.